across the vast wasteland nature, enforces one immutable truth under the law of survival. The predator is never truly safe. A life or death struggle unfolds where a single blinding kick can shatter the food chain in an instant. Fear ignites an instinct honed over generations. Guided by survival instinct, the prey turns to face its age-old adversary. Bone-crushing hooves strike with terrifying force. Blood splatters across the dust as hunters flee in utter humiliation. Across these sun-baked lands, the herd gallops freely, living relics of a forgot age, weighing up to 400 kilograms. Forged through millions of years of evolution, they operate as a biological machine, delivering over 10,000 newtons of kinetic fury. A lioness slinks through the shadows, her eyes locked on her target, driven by time's pressure. She explodes forward like a spear, closing in on her prey with terrifying swiftness. Impact. The target rears back, delivering a thunderous, deadly strike directly to the predator's jaw. Blood erupts. The apex predator recoils in agony, tasting the bitter humiliation of defeat. As long shadows stretch across the savanna, the defiant prey stands unbound, dominant force of this fateful encounter. The scorching sun bakes the Masai Mara 6 weeks. Without rain, bring the pride to the tipping point of starvation. 3 out of 4 hunts end in failure, yet a solitary hunter stalks an aging zebra across the cracked earth. Underestimating this prey is fatal, for its hind legs can unleash 3,000 newtons of bone-shattering impact. The hunter leaps in a bid for survival, but the zebra responds with a lightning-fast kick. Crack! Blood sprays into the dry heat. The hunter collapses, shattered and dazed. The prey does not even run, it gazes down in cold disdain as the broken predator retreats. Transformed from a formidable killer into a pathetic parasite, the pride shows no mercy in this merciless wasteland. She begs for leftover scraps, for in the harsh cycle of life, the injured individual cannot be spared. Many male lions perish before 8 years. One single devastating injury invites the final stillness. Yet zebras are far more than passive survivors. They are aggressive masters of their territory. They relentlessly pursue rivals, asserting complete control over all who dare trespass on their feeding grounds. A warthog is forcefully blasted into the dust. No creature dares breach this unyielding stronghold. Far to the north, amidst frozen rivers and vast wilderness, another quixotic balance of power exists. A 500-kilogram moose wades through glacial waters, shadowed by a formidable grizzly bear. A desperate chase begins, but in an astonishing reversal, the prey turns to attack. Towering legs charge forward, sending the grizzly fleeing in terror, completely exhausted after 30 minutes. The moose transforms the river into its final refuge, where immense reach grants absolute tactical dominance. A single stomping blow can crush bone, reminding us that the Creator imbues every creature with lethal defense. Yet back in the heart of Africa, who claims the ultimate crown for rearguard destruction? Observe the serene giraffe, graceful, yet harboring 140 kilograms of force per square centimeter. A lone predator will never risk a solitary strike, for one fatal kick brings instant oblivion. Only united packs offer hope of survival, maintaining the fragile equilibrium in an endless cycle of life and rebirth. Across the sun-baked wilderness, the clash with the towering giraffe ends in catastrophe, leaving the broken predator to lick its wounds in final stillness. Here in the Maupane Plains, an ancient leviathan commands the landscape, a 12-year-old Cape buffalo, known as the Black Death, a relic of a forgot age. Shadowing the herd is a 3-year-old outcast driven by instinct honed over generations and desperate to stake its claim as dominant force of the wild kingdom. Suddenly, the predator strikes, a desperate bid for domination. But the biological machine counters with terrifying force. Horns like forged steel gore, their attacker shattering ribs in a life or death struggle. The wounded lion retreats, humbled by the lure of survival. Yet nature summons an even harsher crucible as August arrives. Over 1.5 million wildebeest converge upon the raging waters of the Mara River for the Great Migration. Beneath the murky current lurks an age-old adversary, towering Nile crocodiles, apex predators awaiting time's pressure and flesh in their eternal river. Thousands plunge down the sheer muddy banks, launching a bloody spectacle in the drowning abyss, where survival instinct is tested to the absolute limit. Across 2 agonizing months, the herd faces total isolation, a single misstep, and the individual sinks into a vortex of crimson panic. Zebras carve through the raging torrent. Giant aquatic killers rise from the depths, snapping jaws inches from fleeing hooves. Can the resilient reach safety? Blinding spray turns the river into a deadly trap, churning mud, deafening roars, and raw terror transform the migration into a merciless battleground. The lucky few scale the steep cliff sides, fleeing a leviathan with 350 kilograms of bone-crushing jaw power, the undisputed tyrant of the marsh. As twilight falls over Okavango, the fragile equilibrium shifts once more deep in the thicket. A silent lioness stalks what should be an easy meal, a solitary warthog. But this prey is no helpless victim armed with deadly 25-centimeter tusks honed to razor sharpness. It stands ready to defend its final refuge. Lions rarely conquer a fully grown specimen, even as the hunter surges forward. The warthog wheels around with lightning fury. Razor tusks slash past her face. Shocked and terrified, the apex predator retreats in utter humiliation, another predator humbled by defiance. Night falls over the infinite Savanna, closing a day of failed ambitions, 5 fierce battles, 5 defeats for those who claim domination. For in nature's untamed wilderness, titles mean nothing here beneath their eternal stars. Deep instinct to survive remains the supreme law of life and rebirth. As golden dawn illuminates the wasteland of the Masai Mara, a pride of lionesses stirs, driven by a relentless survival instinct. After 5 consecutive failures in the law of survival, the individual yields to the collective. A young matriarch rises to unify the ultimate biological machines. Veiled within the parched savanna, keen eyes scan the endless horizon. Their chosen target, a distant herd of zebras, grazing peacefully in the cycle of life. Moving with unspoken precision through the scorching tall grass, the predator's tight and invisible perimeter, bound by the instinct honed over generations of the hunt. Every twitch of an ear, every rustle in the wind, brings the fragile equilibrium to a razor-thin edge. The prey senses danger, tension, mounts to a breaking point. Suddenly, from the shadows of the dry woodland, emerges an age-old adversary, the Cape buffalo herd, known to all as the Black Death. Weighing nearly 900 kilograms with hides like iron plating, these towering beasts carry deadly curved horns capable of shattering a predator's ribcage. Unfazed by the apex predators, the herd forms an impenetrable phalanx, standing as a living fortress against time's pressure. A formidable bull steps forward, a relic of a forgot age, his piercing gaze, challenging any force that dares cross into his territory. Yet even amidst external threats, internal ambition ignites. Two rival bulls lock horns in a brutal clash for unchallenged power. Bone strikes bone. Thunderous impacts echo across the wasteland as the law of survival demands a dominant force. As darkness falls, the true ruler of the night steps out from the shadows, the spotted hyena, a heavily misunderstood apex predator. Far from being mere opportunistic scavengers, these persistent hunters secure 95% of their sustenance through active, strategic hunting. Powered by a heart twice the size of a lion's, this biological machine strikes with staggering speed. Water explodes. A flamingo is snared before taking flight. With immense stamina, the hyena relentlessly pursues its prey across vast distances, pushing its target to the ultimate tipping point of exhaustion. A panicked antelope slips into muddy waters, a fatal error in the great jungle. The clan descends in unison, tearing into their prize. Dominance here is governed by a strict matriarchal order. Elevated prenatal testosterone turns female hyenas into formidable, aggressive warlords. Hierarchy is inherited through violence. Two females collide in a life or death struggle, teeth sinking deep as dust veils their struggle for rank. At the bottom of the food chain lie the males. Submissive and battered, they wait patiently, receiving only leftovers in the merciless hierarchy. Scent marks on weathered bark reassert absolute domain over their sacred territory. But brute strength is only half their weapon. Observe the cunning shadow the hyena silently trails a black-backed jackal, utilizing the smaller canine as a living radar. The moment food is unearthed, the hyena swoops in. Power overrides labor, leaving the jackal to watch helplessly as its prize is stolen. Across the vast expanse, the clan aligns once more, preparing to face the ceaseless rhythm of life and death beneath the African sky. In this unforgiving theater of nature, where the weak fall and the strong prevail, who will survive the final stillness? Across the parched wilderness, a ruthless predator stalks the shadows of an ancient den driven by pure survival instinct. Desperate to protect her young, a jackal mother risks everything, luring the apex predator away. Yet the stone crevice stands as an unyielding fortress, forcing the marauders to abandon their futile assault. Cruel fortune strikes again as a hard-earned kill is stolen, exposing the unforgiving terms of survival. Suddenly, thunderous hooves announce the return of the herd, igniting instinct honed over generations in the young hyenas. Lacking leadership, their unbridled arrogance transforms the hunt into a humiliating catastrophe of exhaustion. Beneath the cover of darkness, the dominant force selects a solitary, weakened wildebeest, a target of opportunity. In utter panic, the prey plunges into treacherous waters, only for treacherous mud to seal its doom. Side by side, mother and daughter drag the struggling beast down, dousing all hope with lethal precision. Nighttime calls summon the clan to feast, ensuring the matriarch's reign and passing ancient wisdom to her heir. Leaving the burning plains behind, nature unveils a drastically different arena: the frozen, brutal peaks of the North American Rockies. Here, gargantuan walls of granite scrape the heavens, where 8 months of blizzard and -50 degrees threat to extinguish all life. Yet amidst this kingdom of ice and stone thrives a marvel of evolution: the mountain goat, master of their abyss. Perched 4,000 meters above the clouds, these cliffs serve as their ultimate fortress, beyond the reach of any predator. Designed by nature as a biological machine, their split hooves possess hard outer rims and suction-like pads that defy gravity itself. Powerful shoulder muscles drive them up sheer stone walls, balancing effortlessly on ledges narrower than a human hand. Hours after birth, newborn kids embrace their eternal depths, scaling dizzying heights with astounding confidence from the very start. Yet life on these solitary heights demands a perilous sacrifice: a severe lack of vital minerals and essential salts. Guided by an ancient thirst, the herd descends into dangerous lowlands, exposing themselves to the ever-present threat of ambushes. At the slightest whiff of danger, they retreat vertically where no terrestrial hunter can match their impossible, gravity-defying speed. But these precipitous domains are shared with another titan: the bighorn sheep, crowned warriors of the granite landscape. Blending seamlessly into the slate-gray cliffs, mature rams carry formidable spiral horns weighing more than their entire skeleton combined. As autumn arrives, a surge of testosterone transforms peaceful grazers into ferocious gladiators, bound by their eternal cycle of dominance. Charging at 30 meters per second, two titans collide with bone-shattering force, a life-or-death struggle for supremacy. Their explosive impact echoes across the frozen peaks, echoing the fragile equilibrium maintained through strength and unyielding instinct. Here, high above the world, the law of survival reigns supreme, where only the strongest survive to pass on their sacred lineage. As time's pressure marches on, these ancient relics of a forgot age remain undefeated monarchs of the sky, defying nature's harshest trials in an endless dance of rebirth and survival. Deep within this skull lies the secret to surviving time's pressure: a double-layered biological machine. A shock-absorbing matrix and keratin weapons turn brutal impact into pure kinetic dispersion. For 24 exhausting hours, this duel rages until the law of survival claims the fallen. Leaving the frozen peaks, we descend into the wide wasteland, where open horizons offer no shelter, only speed. Enter the pronghorn, an apex sprinter of the plains, slicing through the wind at 88 kilometers per hour. Unlike the hunting cheetah built for brief bursts, This individual is an endurance engine built for domination, sustaining a terrifying pace of 56 kilometers per hour across endless miles of open territory. An oversized trachea floods huge lungs, with oxygen driving twin biological pumps to power every thunderous stride. Yet why did evolution sculpt such astonishing speed when no living predator can ever match its pace? The truth is carved into the Ice Age, when an age-old adversary, the American cheetah, once stalked these lands. Though that dominant force vanished 10,000 years ago, the instinct honed over generations of survival burns bright. To this day, the herd flees in wild panic, forever running from phantom ghosts of a forgot age. Yet nature left a fatal flaw in this marvel of evolution: it cannot jump. Flat prairies required no leaping, leaving them helpless before the barbed wire fences of the human world. Forced to crawl underneath, many meet a tragic tipping point in this artificial snare. In the unforgiving wilderness, a tiny shadow unleashes total terror upon the frozen mountains. Behold the wolverine, the most ferocious predator ruling this realm of frost and stone. Weighing under 20 kilograms, this creature harbors a bottomless abyss of pure, unadulterated fury. It fearlessly steals prey from giant black bears and cougars tenfold its size, forcing them to flee. Its secret weapon: molars rotated 90 degrees, engineered to crush rock-hard frozen bone with ease. Razor-sharp claws grip sheer cliffs, outmatching even the nimble mountain goat on vertical stone. A godly sense of smell detects frozen carcasses buried beneath 6 meters of suffocating avalanche snow. Yet beyond its ruthless survival instinct, it slides down snowy peaks on its belly, purely for joy. At -50 degrees, this creature stands as a holy testament to resilience, an invincible apex predator. Proving that in the food chain, survival belongs not to the formidable but to the unyielding. When winter breaks, glacier torrents unleash raging waters near freezing point, swallowing all in their path. Yet this aquatic graveyard becomes a sanctuary for a tiny bird, defying the fragile equilibrium of physics. It plunges into the roaring current, flapping its wings to swim upstream against the crushing surge. Claws anchor firmly to underwater rocks, while water pressure pins it down to the riverbed. A natural diving lens and waterproof feathers shield this biological machine, transforming lethal peril into home within the cycle of life. Leaving the mist-shrouded river, nature unveils a towering relic of a forgot age. The North American moose, a 700-kilogram monolith standing over 2 meters high, dominating the primeval valley. Its towering antlers shed and regenerate within 5 months, growing at an astounding 2.5 centimeters each day. These living acoustic dishes amplify its hearing by 20%, detecting the subtle movements of an approaching predator. Yet its most astounding survival instinct lies beneath the frozen lakes, where this titan turns into an elite diver. Plunging 5.5 meters deep, it retrieves essential minerals, holding its breath for a full minute underwater. Automated nasal valves seal instantly, preventing water from entering this impressive biological machine as it swims through icy depths. Crossing wide oceanic straits at 9 kilometers per hour, It traverses endless horizons in an unyielding display of endurance. But deep beneath the dark waves lurks an age-old adversary. The killer whale 5 times faster waiting to strike. Here, the dominant force of the land becomes defenseless prey, swallowed by the final stillness of their abyss. Far to the south, basaltic mountains fractured millions of years ago, forging the desolate highlands of Ethiopia. In this sub-zero wasteland, where freezing winds sweep across sheer cliffs, an unique individual claims its territory. The gelada monkey, the last primate alive to survive purely on fresh grass in thin, high-altitude air. Nimble fingers harvest low-nutrient foliage with rhythmic precision, functioning like a relentless biological machine. Plucking 2 blades every second, evolution compensated for their seated posture with a vibrant crimson heart patch upon their chest. This vivid symbol replaces traditional mating signals, proclaiming dominance and vitality across the wind-swept plateau. As dusk falls and thick fog envelops the peaks, the herd retreats toward the sheer precipice. Clinging to vertical rock faces, hundreds sleep suspended over their abyss, safe from roaming nocturnal predators. Yet on the open plateau, an eerie shadow emerges: the jackal, an opportunistic predator seeking its next meal. A fragile equilibrium unfolds. As the monkey herd unearths the soil, swarms of rodents burst forth into the open. The jackal utilizes the herd as natural beaters, reaping a rich harvest without expending vital energy. In return, a strict law of survival is honored: the predator never harms an infant monkey, suppressing its instinct honed over generations. Patience guarantees a continuous food chain, an extraordinary alliance forged in the crucible of nature. Meanwhile, on higher ground, the lone Ethiopian wolf rejects alliance, choosing solitary domination. Excavating the frozen earth alone, its fierce self-reliance cements its status as the dominant force of these peaks. From symbiotic pacts to solitary struggles, every creature wields an evolutionary weapon to conquer the wilderness. In this relentless cycle of life, the law of survival separates the weak from those destined for rebirth. As time's pressure reshapes the world, we stand in awe of nature's infinite wisdom. Unseen battlegrounds await across distant lands, where new legends of survival are yet to be writ. Which extraordinary apex predator will next rise to defy the odds and claim ultimate supremacy? Beneath the frozen earth, a subterranean prey stirs, driven by pure survival instinct. The predator freezes. Every muscle tenses, waiting, listening to the faintest tremor in the dirt. Then a lethal strike. Razor claws breach the surface, claiming life in an instant. Yet in nature's brutal calculus, high intelligence brings both unchallenged power and fragile vulnerability. As darkness smothers the highland wasteland, an age-old adversary emerges from the shadows to claim the night. Misunderstood scavengers. No, this apex predator hunts 95% of its own kill with terrifying precision. A jaw force exceeding 1,000 newtons effortlessly shatters bone, enforcing the unyielding law of survival. In Harar, their ghostly calls are no omen of doom, but a holy blessing woven into the cycle of life. When city gates lock, humans feed the wild herd, trusting these beasts to devour lingering evil spirits. Their powerful stomachs serve as a biological machine, preserving the fragile equilibrium between mankind and nature. A solitary spotted hyena drinks quietly, then vanishes into time's pressure. From high orbit, the Himalayan ice wall spans over 2,400 kilometers, a towering realm where paradise touches their abyss. Pilgrims chant amid sacred fires, sending prayers up to Everest, the dominant force of cosmic mountains. Yet at 4,000 meters, oxygen drops 40%. Sub-zero blizzards crush any soul, lacking the instinct honed over generations to survive. Out of this frozen hell steps a majestic phantom, the snow leopard, true monarch of the roof of the world. Highland tribes call it the guardian monk, an enigmatic spirit forged by evolution in the final stillness. This master hunter possesses biological weaponry specifically engineered for a deadly, airless wonderland. Enlarged nasal passages warm the sub-zero air, while dense red blood cells pump life through alpine cold. Massive padded paws act as snowshoes, allowing this shadow to glide effortlessly across deep drift without leaving a trace. Powerful hind legs explode with raw force. A 15-meter leap across the tipping point of death. Target locked. Down a 60-degree precipice, gravity turns into lethal acceleration. Predator and prey collide, tumbling hundreds of meters through jagged rocks and blinding snow, a life or death struggle. A 12-centimeter thick fur armor absorbs the brutal impact. Victorious, the hunter stands tall in the frozen gorge. Yet by a strange twist of the creator's design, this dominant force cannot roar. Instead of a thunderous cry, it releases a soft chuff, a gentle whisper floating through the misty alpine peak. This silent breath allows it to merge seamlessly, with nature disturbing neither wind nor stone. Every leap across cliff edges is a testament to millions of years of relentless evolution. Silently ruling over this eternal realm of ice and rock, the snow leopard remains a relic of a forgot age, an immortal legend etched into the peaks forever. In the final stillness of the frozen wasteland, a shadow glides unseen across the treacherous Himalayan snows. This absolute quiet is not a gift of nature, it is the most deadly weapon of an apex predator. At the edge of a remote mountain village, the helpless herd grazes in bliss, completely oblivious to their approaching phantom. Thick, padded paws muffle each step, transforming this ghost of the peaks into an unstoppable biological machine. Panic erupts. A wild sheep breaks into a desperate, frantic sprint across the blinding snow. The predator strikes, locking its jaws onto the victim in a relentless life or death struggle. Hauling its prize up the sheer cliff face, the dominant force claims its rightful place atop the mountain. Yet in this vertical kingdom, the hunter faces its age-old adversary, the barrel or Himalayan blue sheep. Forged through millions of years of evolution, their slate-gray coats blend into the jagged stone like a shroud of invisibility. This natural armor conceals them from hungry eyes, but nothing escapes the sharp gaze of the snow leopard. To survive in this harsh territory, the herd obeys an unwritten law: never wander more than 200 meters from the precipice. Their hooves are a miracle, engineered by the creator, razor-sharp edges gripping tiny crevices, cushioned by elastic, rubbery pads. When threatened, they hurl themselves down their abyss, a controlled freefall that deters bears and wolves alike. But today their opponent is an apex predator, driven by pure instinct honed over generations. Limits broken, the snow leopard leaps into the void, initiating a high-stakes pursuit in midair. Its inner ear gyroscope maintains flawless balance, navigating perilous tumbles down sub-zero ice walls. Defying gravity and the deep gorge, it slams its target down at the foot of the mountain. In the valley of snow, the victorious killer drags its prize into a dark cave, shielding its feast from scavengers. Yet defeating the blue sheep was merely an initial test. A far greater challenge awaits in the form of the markhor. The screw-horned king of the crag's formidable adult males, exceeding 100 kilograms of pure muscle. Standing on two legs to reach high branches, they live in peace until winter winds herald the mating season. An explosion of testosterone transforms them into angry gladiators, entering a violent fight to secure their lineage. The thunderous clashing of heavy horns echoes across the rocks, accidentally drowning out the footfalls of a predator. From the shadows, the snow leopard creeps closer, crouching low before exploding into motion. It charges like a spear. The battle for dominance instantly becomes a sprint for life. The markhor launches itself across an 8-meter chasm, shattering its pursuers' hopes. Weaving along the treacherous cliff, it outmaneuvers the hunter, causing the lethal pounce to miss entirely. Depleted of energy, the predator halts its chase, forced to retreat, humbled by the law of survival. Undaunted by defeat, the ghost of the Himalayas shifts its focus toward the stubborn warriors of the high altitude, the Himalayan tahr. A dense, iron-like mane shields their neck, protecting their most vital weakness against lethal fangs. Thriving between 2,000 and 5,000 meters, they rule, a precarious labyrinth of sheer, vertical walls. Even on steep 60-degree slopes, their heavy 90-kilogram bodies stand unfazed, true biological mountain climbing machines. Silent footsteps in the deep snow close the distance. The relentless predator prepares to unleash another ambush. An explosive leap tears through the fog. The herd vanishes into chaos. Targeting a trailing individual, the leopard pours all its power into one final sprint. Sharp claws dig into icy snow, but the cornered tahr turns, wielding curved horns in a desperate defense. A dramatic confrontation on the brink of their abyss, where the slightest slip means instant demise. The leopard strikes and misses by a hair, as the agile prey slips into a safe stone crevice. Once again, the prey's extraordinary survival instinct prevails over the supreme predator's patience. Though deprived of a kill, the snow leopard stands majestic upon the peak, an immortal symbol of the high mountain wasteland. Every battle scar marked upon its body is a lesson learned writ by time's pressure. On the roof of the world, conquest requires infinite endurance, a perpetual struggle against harsh elements and elusive prey. As icy tempests swallow the landscape, the phantom dissolves back into the frozen mist, awaiting the tipping point of its next hunt. In this realm of frost, where the rhythm of life and death hangs in a fragile equilibrium, only the resilient shall endure. Will the dominant force claim its throne on the roof of the world when the cold winds howl once more? High upon the frozen crags, a Himalayan tar leaps driven by a primal survival instinct. Its hooves cling to microscopic ledges, denying its age-old adversary the ultimate reward. Yet above these sheer abysses, a dominant force of the heavens watches in cold, calculating silence. The golden eagle, an apex predator, whose sight pierces the frozen wasteland from 3,000 meters. With a 2-meter wingspan mastering violent gales, no prey can escape nature's most formidable assassin. Target locked, it folds its wings. A terrifying stoop into their abyss. Plunging at 300 kilometers per hour, death descends in a heartbeat. Razor talons strike deep. The law of survival claims yet another victim. Yet its ambition reaches far beyond small rodents, demanding unchallenged power over the mountain peak. Heavier quarry is lifted high or hurled into the chasm below an execution by gravity. In this brutal realm, a dark alliance emerges between the golden eagle and the snow leopard. Waiting patiently above the kill, the avian predator descends to claim the leopard's abandoned scraps. Scattering scavengers with formidable wings, it enforces its rightful place atop the food chain. For centuries, Tibetan culture revered this winged titan as a sacred vessel of sky burials. Carrying mortal remains into the infinite blue, completing the endless cycle of life and rebirth. As silence returns to the peaks, a lethal threat awakens in the shadows of the valley below. The Asian wild dog pack emerges, a formidable collective bound by a relentless hunting instinct. Weighing barely 20 kilograms, an individual dhole is no match for the solitary apex predator. Yet together the herd operates as a relentless, synchronized biological machine of destruction. High-pitched whistles pierce the freezing air, signaling a coordinated life or death struggle. They pursue without respite, draining the prey's endurance to the tipping point. Relentless jaws tear from every angle, a terrifying assault of pure kinetic power. In 15 brutal minutes, the mountain goat is reduced to bones and red snow. Even the ghost of the mountain, the snow leopard, retreats before this merciless collective force. Yet these ferocious pack hunters are vital keystones, preserving the fragile equilibrium of the sanctuary. Without them, overgrazing would crumble these cliffs, unleashing catastrophic landslides upon human settlements. Leaving the Himalayas behind, time's pressure leads us to ancient European mountain strongholds. Here, the alpine ibex stands as a relic of a forgot age, reborn from near extinction. Yet as populations surge, a new struggle begins in their eternal balance of nature. High in the unforgiving realm of alpine peaks, the relentless survival instinct drives the alpine ibex to perform an unthinkable pilgrimage. Starved of vital minerals by mountain vegetation, these creatures risk everything, clinging to vertical concrete dams in a perilous bid for survival. To human eyes, this immense precipice is an abyss of guaranteed death, but to the ibex, it is merely a highway carved by instinct honed over generations. The secret of this biological machine lies beneath their hooves. Dual flexible toes split wide to grasp tiny ridges, while soft rubbery pads create suction against sheer walls. Here, the concrete leaches precious salt, a lifeline demanded by nature. Unspoken by text, this extraordinary knowledge is an ancient legacy passed down through countless generations. Suspended over the void, these agile dwellers conquer man-made stone with the sheer power of evolution. Where their environment fails to provide, life always finds a way. Yet in this high-altitude realm, the ibex is not the sole master. Where the ibex chooses stubborn endurance, the chamois commands these precipices with explosive speed. Ancient geographical shifts split the chamois into two lineages: the robust alpine branch built for bitter blizzards, and the nimble Pyrenean branch, perfectly adapted for sharp, treacherous crags. Two paths, one shared legacy. Their ultimate weapon against their abyss is a specialized hoof-flexible pads absorb violent impacts, designed not merely to hold, but to launch. On soft snow, their hooves splay wide, stretching interdigital membranes into natural snowshoes. As ancient nemeses like wolves flounder in deep drifts, the chamois glides past like a shadow. When hunted, instinct honed over generations erupts. A living arrow leaping across 6-meter abysses, charging up steep 45-degree slopes. Sudden sharp turns at terrifying speeds leave apex predators utterly helpless. A perfect speed machine, forged by nature to rule the precipice. To endure time's pressure in winter, their heart rate drops to a mere 8 beats per minute, slowing life to a whisper until spring returns. Guided by a veteran matriarch, the herd remains vigilant. From high outcroppings, sentinels scan for danger, sounding a piercing whistle that sends the herd bounding to safety. High above, a dominant force of the skies watches without needing to hunt the bearded vulture. Ignoring rotting flesh, this apex predator craves an unique feast bone. Carrying heavy bones into the heavens, it drops them onto rocky crags below, harnessing gravity to shatter the calcium shell and unlock rich, nutrient-dense marrow. Smaller bone fragments are swallowed whole. Inside its digestive furnace, ultra-potent acid dissolves solid bone within a single day, a feat unmatched in the food chain. Yet its mystery lies not just in its diet, but in its striking blood-red plumage. Bathing in iron oxide mud, these giant birds dye their feathers in a fierce crimson display. This vivid color signals supreme health and territorial dominance. Only the strongest individuals possess the surplus energy required to adorn themselves in this sacred ritual. While the dominant force of the heavens displays its authority down on the frozen slopes, the alpine marmot pursues a far humbler path to survive time's pressure. These industrious rodents continuously excavate deep subterranean strongholds, stockpiling vital fat reserves before the harsh cold arrives, standing upright on elevated mounds, ever vigilant against hungry predators. When ferocious blizzards sweep across the wasteland, extinguishing life across the valley, the marmot descends into the quiet darkness of its burrow, surrendering to a deep hibernation that suspends its existence. In this unyielding kingdom of stone and ice, every creature from the gravity-defying ibex to the silent sentinel beneath the earth obeys the fragile equilibrium of nature, awaiting the eternal rhythm of renewal. Until the gentle warmth of spring awakens the high alpine slopes, once more the great law of survival reigns supreme over these ancient crags, an eternal testament to the resilience of life in the face of absolute adversity. When the blizzards unleash their fury across the wasteland, the alpine marmot retreats into its subterranean sanctuary, surrendering to suspended animation. Its core body temperature plunges to 3 degrees Celsius, while its heart decelerates to a mere 5 beats per minute. Yet this extreme biological adjustment alone cannot save the individual from the biting, lethal grip of nature. Guided by ancient survival instinct, the species employs an extraordinary collective strategy: communal heating deep within the earth. Up to 20 members of their extended clan packed tightly into a single underground chamber, creating a living biological furnace. Huddled into a dense mass of warm flesh, each synchronized breath recycles precious heat to push back the final stillness. However, the precise placement of each body within this huddle dictates who survives and who succumbs to the cold. This rigid social hierarchy is governed by the law of survival, forged through brutal self-sacrifice for the herd's survival. The largest alpha males position themselves at the outermost perimeter, right beside the icy burrow entrance. Serving as living shields against the frost, they endure the freezing drafts, reserving the warm center for the vulnerable young. Every few weeks, their entire clan briefly awakens to tend to hygiene and shift positions before drifting back into slumber. This ancient ritual demands a heavy toll. Dominant males lose 40% of their body mass by winter's end. They emerge emaciated and exhausted, yet their sacrifice ensures the rebirth and continuation of their lineage. While the marmots sleep deep underground, an invisible apex predator stalks the snow-bound realm above a phantom of the wilderness. The Eurasian lynx, a dominant force of the great jungle, glides across powdered snow on formidably padded paws. Its ultimate weapon is not its sharp claws, but the iconic tufts of black hair atop its ears. These biological antennas catch and pinpoint acoustic waves with terrifying precision, detecting faint rustles through the howling gale. Even amid blizzard conditions, this master predator hears the distant heartbeat of potential prey beneath the snowpack. Yet bringing down an animal 4 times its weight presents a new dilemma in the food chain. To secure an 80-kilogram kill from scavengers, the lynx drags the carcass half a kilometer, concealing it with branches and snow. This frozen larder guarantees sustenance for days, allowing this ghost of the forest to maintain its domination. Suddenly, the tranquil silence of the alpine forest is shattered by an audacious, reverberating call. The capercaillie, a magnificent bird the size of a turkey, braves the bitter cold to issue a reckless mating declaration. On the traditional courtship arena known as a lek, rival males gather for a fierce display of strength and stamina. The prize is the continuation of life. The penalty for failure is evolutionary irrelevance and genetic death. Fanning its black tail feathers like a majestic mantle, it throws back its head, belting out its passionate song. Yet at the climax of its song, a lethal vulnerability built into its evolutionary design unfolds. As its vocalization peaks, its auditory canals seal shut, completely rendering the bird totally deaf to approaching danger. For a few crucial seconds, the world falls silent, stalking predators close and completely undetected. Is the ancient urge to pass on its genes worth risking a life or death struggle? In nature's design, yes, for the drive to reproduce overrides even the instinct for self-preservation. Its audacity pays off, drawing attentive females to the mossy hummock, securing another generation. Farther up the high-altitude frontier, the struggle for survival escalates as a pack of dholes surges across the snow fields. Moving at formidable speeds, these Asian wild dogs operate as a relentless, synchronized hunting machine. Their overwhelming strength in numbers forces even solitary apex carnivores to give ground. Even a mighty 60-kilogram leopard, capable of easily crushing a single 15-kilogram dhole, respects the pack. When outnumbered 22-1, the balance of power shifts, instantly forcing the feline to retreat into the canopy. High in the Himalayas, an invisible ecological border divides the territory between two master felines. Below 4,000 meters, the common leopard reigns supreme, while above the tree line, the snow leopard rules the frozen crags. Though close relatives, evolution has sculpted each into distinct biological machines tailored to their harsh environment. The snow leopard features broad chest cavities and agile limbs for leaping across treacherous precipices. Conversely, the common leopard relies on raw muscular power, hauling heavy prey high into trees away from thieves. Each possesses a specialized weapon to maintain the fragile equilibrium of this unforgiving ecosystem. As winter deepens, every footprint left upon the pristine snow marks a chapter in this eternal saga of life. From frozen alpine burrows to the highest Himalayan peaks, the supreme law of nature remains unchanged. Adapt 2 times pressure, or face absolute extinction, for the heartbeat of the wild never ceases its march. High above the merciless ground, the leopard converts a solitary tree into a high-altitude stronghold. Here, elevated from rival scavengers, this master of the food chain defends its vital reward, driven by pure survival instinct. Leaving the sparse woodlands behind, our journey spans vast ocean tides to reach the formidable spine of South America, their eternal Andes. This unending mountain range, holding relics of a forgot age, spans from the scorching Atacama wasteland to the frozen ice fields of Patagonia. Emerging from the blinding snowstorms is an apex predator, the puma, undisputed dominant force of these jagged rock walls. In ancient human memory, this sacred beast stood as an emblem of sheer resilience, a biological machine forged across eons. The legendary imperial capital of Cusco was built in the shadow of its hunting silhouette, honoring nature's lethal masterpiece. With elongated hind limbs engineered for explosive force, it can leap 5 meters into the air and bound 12 meters across the void. Despite its formidable mass, biological evolution aligns this shadow with small felines denied the booming roar of lions or tigers. In its place is a piercing, haunting scream echoing through the frozen night like a soul trapped in the final stillness. Every step upon the snow is calculated hind paws, treading precisely inside front tracks to erase all trace of presence. The mountain ghost moves unseen, closing and silently waiting for the fatal tipping point to strike from the blind spot. Its primary prey, the guanaco, seemingly placid, yet hardened through eons of merciless predatory pressure. The herd remains hyper-vigilant, every sense attuned to the ever-present threat of the stalker. To survive their age-old adversary, they evolved biological armor, a thick-neck shield built to absorb bone-crushing fangs. The supreme predator coiled in silence, muscle fibers, tense eyes locked on the target. Explosion. The predator leaps into motion. A desperate chase erupts across the screen. Claws dig deep into flesh. 60 kilograms of muscle tackles, a victim double its weight. A savage impact. Dust swirls as prey retaliates with brutal kicks, a life or death struggle. The victim breaks free, sprinting wildly across the barren mountain, fueled by raw survival instinct. But the stalker never yields. At 4,000 meters above sea level, oxygen is scarce, yet the prey possesses a specialized biological machine in its blood. Packed with 13 million red blood cells per drop, its blood surges like supercharged fuel through overworked muscles. Yet even this extraordinary evolution cannot outlast the unyielding determination of nature's ultimate killer. Razor fangs finally breach the armor, sinking deep into the throat until the victim collapses onto frozen stone. A final gasp fades into the howling wind, another life claimed by time's pressure. The hunter claims its hard-won reward, reaffirming its unchallenged power over this merciless vertical ecosystem. Higher still at 5,000 meters, the air thins to a whisper. Here lies the final refuge of the delicate vicuña, where extreme altitude turns back all other life. This species thrives clad in a golden fleece engineered by the Creator. Measuring a mere 12 micrometers thick, these ultra-fine fibers form a thermal barrier warmer than any artificial material. They graze peacefully in the sky, treating this lethal environment not as a sentence, but as their sacred domain. Ancient Inca rulers revered this fleece as the thread of the gods, reserving its luxury exclusively for royal lineages. Across centuries, human communities intertwined their existence with these high peaks, honoring the fragile equilibrium of nature. Dressed in vibrant woven garb, indigenous villagers perform ancient dances, giving thanks for the wilderness gifts that sustain them. In the innocent laughter of their youth, the resilient spirit of the Andes lives on, passing wisdom through generations. Man and nature stride together through time, coexisting in harmony, writing an endless chapter in the grand cycle of life. And here upon these cloud-wrapped pinnacles, life continues its eternal march, triumphant, unyielding, and forever proud. High upon the windswept Andes, an ancient bond between man and beast unfolds in the sacred ritual of Chaco. Here, the golden vicuña is sheared with reverence before being returned to nature's embrace. Yet even the warmest fleece offers no salvation against the age-old adversary lurking in the shadows. Guided by pure survival instinct, the vicuña can burst across the wasteland at 50 kilometers per hour, matching their explosive acceleration of the puma in a thrilling, desperate game of life and death. But this lethal apex predator knows the prey's every habit, exploiting the fragile equilibrium of the herd. Bound by instinct honed over generations, the herd gathers at communal dung heaps to mark their precious territory. The predator simply waits in ambush, lying in state at these predictable, deadly crossroads. The moment the lead vicuña lowers its head, the law of survival strikes without mercy. Yet in this relentless mountain arena, the puma faces a far more terrifying dominant force. From the dense wilderness emerges the jaguar, third largest cat on Earth and lord of the Western Hemisphere. Armed with a bone-crushing bite, its biological machine jaws effortlessly shatter the thickest shells and skulls. Thousands of years of fierce evolution have carved a strict boundary between these formidable carnivores. While the jaguar dominates the lush tropical lowlands, the puma retreated to harsher, unforgiving heights. Sheer cliffs and thin mountain air became a natural sanctuary, shielding it from the mighty tyrant below. This strategic retreat is no sign of weakness, but the ultimate triumph of evolutionary intelligence. One rules the dark green abysses, the other reigns over frozen, snow-capped strongholds. High above this split realm, the Andean condor rides the thermal currents with majestic, effortless grace. With a wingspan exceeding 3 meters, this relic of a forgot age glides hundreds of miles without a flap. As the puma departs from its kill, the winged monarch descends to claim the remains of a guanaco. Its powerful beak tears through tough hide, a grim yet vital service in the endless cycle of life. To the ancient Inca, this giant scavenger was a sacred messenger bridging the earth and celestial spirits. Descending into the southern glacial valleys, we find their endangered huemul deer fighting for its existence. Fewer than 2,000 remain a delicate species, surrounded by relentless predators on every side. Yet when ambushed by the puma, this fragile creature unleashes a bold, unbelievable defense. It leaps headlong into raging, ice-cold glacial rivers, where wild currents wash away the threat. Paralyzed by an innate fear of freezing waters, the frustrated hunter watches its prey drift out of reach. The treacherous river becomes a watery fortress, safeguarding the survival instinct of the mountain deer. Leaving the icy depths behind high on the barren plateau, yet another remarkable creature prepares to meet the relentless tide of time. High upon the frozen wasteland of the Andes, nature has endowed the fragile chinchilla with a deep instinct to survive. 80 hairs sprout from a single follicle, forming the densest thermal armor known to the living world. Trapping a barrier of warm air, this biological shield defies the bone-chilling cold, yet within this perfection lies a lethal vulnerability. Unable to sweat, any moisture trapped in its thick coat cannot dry, triggering hypothermia and death within hours. To endure, this prey shuns water entirely, bathing instead in volcanic ash to cleanse excess oils and preserve its heat armor. Ambushed by wild predators, it triggers an astonishing defense, shedding whole tufts of fur, leaving baffled hunters empty-handed. As shadows swallow the rugged peaks, ancient nemeses stir from the deep shadows of the great jungle to claim their dominion. The Black Panther prowls in absolute silence, a phantom engineered by a rare genetic mutation of the Creator. Out of 10,000 leopards born into the wild, only a single individual inherits this mysterious cloak of midnight. Through convergent evolution, wild felines across the globe share this dark mantle, rendering them invisible under faded moonlight. Yet by day, sunlight filtering through the canopy reveals their secret iconic rosette patterns gleaming faintly beneath muscular flanks. A subtle mutation in the agouti signaling protein coats this apex predator in obsidian pigments to master the night. Perched upon rocky crags, bright golden eyes pierce the dark mist, tracking every subtle tremor of unsuspecting prey below. Silent footsteps, explosive power. Coiling low on red stone, the shadow strikes like an arrow through the wind. This is the supreme apex weapon securing its reign, atop the food chain in a relentless life or death struggle. Across frozen peaks and dense jungles, every species carries its sacred secrets to survive time's pressure. The eternal balance endures with every breath of nature, where the line between predator and prey remains razor thin. Enter Phantom, the majestic black ruler of the Kabini forest, whose coat drinks in light like a living void. Beside him stands Obsidian, Lord of the Amazon, two distinct genetic pathways forging identical shadow biological machines. Why is this dark mantle so rare in nature? Because it relies on a recessive gene passed down from both parents. Yet on the Malayan Peninsula, evolution flips the script where nearly their entire population thrives in jet-black coats. Fierce selective pressure turned darkness into ultimate domination, replacing ancestral golden coats generation after generation. In the vast African wilderness, however, such creatures remain rare relics of a forgot age. Barely 10 exist across the continent. Among these legendary few is Sombra, a solitary queen commanding 3 square kilometers of territory in Laikipia. Her small realm lies entirely within the hunting grounds of her age-old adversary, a formidable pride of lions. Living in the enemy's heartland, a single misstep means immediate death on the open, unforgiving Savanna. She shuns the blistering sun, waiting patiently until twilight bleeds across the horizon to unleash her nocturnal hunt. Deep darkness becomes her stealth armor, allowing her to glide undetected as dominant force under the night sky. But as the first golden rays of dawn pierce the horizon, her dark cloak transforms into a deadly beacon of exposure. The lion pride awakens to patrol the realm. Can Sombra slip into the shadows before the light betrays her position to the ultimate predators? Beneath the scorching glare of nature, the pride establishes its lethal perimeter across the sun-bleached wasteland of Laikipia. Guided by an unyielding survival instinct, these apex predators seek to strip the veil of darkness from Sombra, the elusive black leopard. Yet within her 3 square kilometers of labyrinthine rock and shadows, This solitary creature holds an inviolable map of her sanctuary. The ruling lion boasts complete control over 40 vast kilometers, yet remains blind to the intimate secrets of this hidden domain. From the sacred silence of the thicket, Sombra's golden eyes measure every breath of her age-old adversary with cold, calculating patience. In this unequal war of survival, intimate knowledge becomes the ultimate weapon of life and death. As crimson twilight bleeds into the horizon, the canopy falls silent, and their entire ecosystem holds its breath. The fading light brings deadly peril. Her midnight cloak stands exposed before 8 relentless pursuers closing the circle of death. The pride enforces the brutal law of survival, waiting to crush their prey, but the tipping point of night approaches fast. Retinal reflective membranes double the ambient light for both rivals, yet their evolutionary paths diverge in the gathering pitch black. Where lions are merely opportunists, Sombra is a perfected biological machine, sculpted specifically for the deep, merciless gloom. When the sun dies, their eternal Savanna transforms entirely, becoming their exclusive kingdom of the Black Phantom. Absorbing every trace of light into her obsidian coat, she vanishes completely into the final stillness of the night. Guided by instinct honed over generations, the lion pride blunders forward into the dark, their spatial sight severely compromised. By chance, the scent of a hiding antelope ignites their predatory frenzy, diverting them from their primary target. While the pride tears into their feast in chaotic savagery, Sombra glides toward another prey in absolute stillness. Silent as a wraith, she closes the distance inch by inch, ancient hunter. Unseen danger. An explosive burst of velocity. A life or death struggle. The antelope is brought down in seconds. Without hesitation, she hauls her formidable prize straight up the vertical trunk of a towering acacia tree. High above the ground, in her high canopy stronghold, the apex hunter feeds at her leisure in absolute safety. Dawn paints the vast wilderness of Laikipia in crimson rays, bringing an end to a night of relentless survival. Sombra's 3 square kilometers of intimate mastery have triumphed over 40 square kilometers of brute force. Evolution reveals her dark armor grants a 23% higher success rate in nocturnal hunting over her spotted kin. It bestows no extra muscle, yet lulls unsuspecting prey into lethal complacency before the sudden, final strike. The battle on the Savanna concludes with complete control, a true masterpiece of natural selection. Yet the chronicle of these dark shadow lords extends far beyond the sun-baked plains of the African continent. Across the ocean, another shadow lord reigns over the ancient drowned realm of the mighty Amazon River. Welcome to Mamara, where relics of a forgot age lurk beneath the suffocating black mud. Will the Code of Shadows allow this apex predator to master a realm governed by water, mud, and terror? While Sombra fled the burning sun, Obsidian rules Mamara, where dense canopy casts eternal darkness across the jungle floor. Unbroken foliage blocks the sky, allowing this solitary predator to stalk his kingdom at any hour of the day or night. With piercing gaze and soundless tread, He navigates the dark, yet is the supreme crown truly his alone. Deep beneath the murky currents, an ancient titan waits in the merciless gloom of the riverbed. A northern green anaconda over 6 meters of pure muscle weighing 200 kilograms, a newly classified leviathan. Against this monster, Obsidian's 90 kilograms seem fragile. In the water, the serpent turns the river into a total wasteland. It needs no pursuit, only infinite patience, coiled silently within the murky abyss. A 60-kilogram capybara swims past, blissfully unaware of the catastrophic ambush waiting beneath the surface. No roars shatter the night. Only suffocating coils tightening like iron, crushing life from ribcage and lung. Slowly, inexorably, the snake engulfs its prey whole into a bottomless biological abyss. From the water's edge, Obsidian watches every movement of this monstrous rival with unblinking focus. Undeterred by the display of aquatic dread, his survival instinct selects a new victim for the food chain. A black caiman encased in armored bone, an invincible tank of the Amazon basin. Obsidian unleashes a 1,500-Newton bite force, aiming straight for the skull, a strike to the death. Bone crushes. Water explodes. He drags the beast ashore, the undeniable dominant force of the Amazon.